my packet go on my computer? Oh, for crying out loud. Okay. We will call the monthly village board meeting to order on Tuesday, February 16th, 2021 at 6 p.m. Janelle, could you please take roll call?
Berto,
Here.
Baker,
Here.
Bell,
He's here, he's muted.
Duffy,
Here.
Kadunkel,
Here.
and Nino.
Here. Is there a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Kadanko,
I'll second.
second by Nino. All those in favor respond with an aye.
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 Opposed? Carried. Is there a motion to approve the minutes from January 19th as presented?
So moved.
Was that Duffy?
That was Duffy. I'll second it then.
Motion by Duffy, second by Baker.
Prior to the meeting, Vivian had contacted me. There's one revision that has to be made on page 8, line 39 of the minutes. It should read, unfortunately, Annie Miller has not received any word as to whether or not the All-American Road National Scenic Byways designation, not application request, has been granted yet.
Okay. I'm still scrolling.
I think I just read in the Pulse Pick that it has been granted just literally today, but
Really? Oh, good. Yay.
Okay, a motion and second. All those in favor respond with an aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Janelle, do you want to take us through comments and correspondence?
Sure. There's a thank you note that was received from the Door County chapter of the Wisconsin Humane Society for the village's contribution to that organization. And then a law enforcement call history report for September, October, November, and December that was received from the Door County Sheriff's Department was also included in the meeting packets.
Is there anybody zooming in or on the phone that would like to address the village board on a non-agenda issue?
does not look like it on my end.
Okay. Then we will go to item number 1, discussion regarding resolution 449-0216-2021, authorizing the issuance and sale of $3,691 sewerage system mortgage revenue bonds of the village of Sister Bay, Door County, Wisconsin, and providing for the payment of the bonds and other details with respect to the bonds. Tasha?
So it's my recommendation that the village board approve this resolution, which authorizes the issuance of these bonds. This is moving to the permanent final financing rather than the interim financing of the wastewater treatment plant upgrade project. The interim financing is almost gone. We're down to our last couple $100,000. This loan will close at the end of March, so there should be no gap there in our payment schedule. The rate of the loan is 1.75%, which is excellent news. When we signed on with the USDA, we were looking at a rate of 2.75% for 3.391 million. And then after going out to bid, we had to look for another $300,000, and that was at, I want to say that was at 2.25 or something like that, or a little bit higher than this. So in either respect, we're doing excellent on the interest rate. The obligation remains a 40-year loan. However, we plan to repay that over 20 years. 20 years is kind of the general life of the treatment plant. And so we believe it's best to match the payments with the life of the project. So as a reminder, also, this is a revenue bond, which is supported by revenues of the utility of the wastewater fund. It has no impact on our municipal levy, nor on the village's debt service limits. So our annual debt service would be around $220,000. This is down from when we were forecasting with the old interest rate. We were looking at about $242,000. So we're looking at a savings of $22,000 a year right now. The total principal is 3.691 million. Total interest over 20 years is $715,406. Anybody have any questions?
Well, great work. The only question I would have is, and I get it, and I like trying to pay the least amount of interest as possible. The idea of putting it over 20 versus 40, do we know yet what that's going to do to rates?
We do know what that's going to do to rates. I guess we've been forecasting all along that even when we started this project, Robert E. Lee, through their engineering study, forecasted, if you recall, it was a $60 per quarter increase. So $60 per quarter is absolutely a lot of money. What we're looking at right now is about a $35 per quarter increase. The reason for that difference is because we were able to secure $1.6 million in grant funding. We were also able to secure a lower interest rate. So even at repaying over 20 years, we're doing a lot better than we had forecasted. And I realize that rate study is still going to hit our customers pretty hard.
But that's good to know, and not, it's less than we thought it was going to be and not exorbitant. So that's great. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Anybody else have any questions?
I have nothing.
Is there a motion to approve as presented?
I so move.
Motion by Nino,
I'll second.
second by Kadanko. All those in favor respond with an aye.
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 Opposed? Carried. Item number 2, discussion regarding resolutions 450-0216-2021 and 451-02162-021, authorizing and providing for the incurrence of indebtedness for the purpose of providing a portion of the cost of acquiring, constructing, enlarging, improving, and or extending its sewer facility to serve an area lawfully within its jurisdiction to serve.
Okay, so these are the USDA related resolutions for this very same issuance. We just went through everything. Nothing else is different. So please let me know if you have any questions.
Nope. I'll make a motion to approve the resolutions as presented.
Motion by Duffy,
Second.
second by Nino. All those in favor respond with an aye.
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 Opposed? Carried. Item number 3, discussion regarding an update on the village's response to the COVID-19 pandemic. I see that Dave's on with us. We shall give him the floor and see if he has anything to share.
Hello, everyone.
Hi, Dave.
I'll start with vaccine. I got an update this morning. We had our administrative committee meeting today. The deal with vaccine is, as we all know, there appears to be shortages in shipping to the states, not necessarily shortages of vaccine nationally. The state gets their allocation, I guess, weekly from the federal government, and then they dole it out to the individual health departments in each individual county based on what the county requests. As you are all aware, in recent weeks, they have received less than what they had asked for. The same thing has continued this week. They got a reduced allocation, and the hospital also got a reduced allocation. My understanding was, I believe the hospital got about 100 doses total for the week. So what both the hospital and the county are doing is they still have a waiting list of people that had signed up and had given appointments that had to be canceled. They're working through that wait list when they get doses in. And once they work through those wait lists, then they'll start adding additional people to the vaccine agenda, if you will. I do know that they also received about 170 plus doses this week for second immunizations for people that have had it already. And those come in separate from the new allocations. So at least they're able to keep up with some of the people that have been vaccinated in the past and that are due this week or next week. The other thing that has occurred is the federal government is shipping direct to Walgreens and CVS pharmacies. I'll give you a little anecdotal evidence of what happened with that. So Friday night, this past Friday night, I got a text from Walgreens. I'm one of their loyalty card members, and they send out, marketing stuff. And what they sent out was they sent out this little blurb that said COVID-19 shots are now available at select Walgreens. Click here for information. So I clicked there, and I was taken to a Walgreens site, and they showed me 6 Walgreens stores in Green Bay that were available for appointments the next day, Saturday morning. They each were given, I guess, about 100 shots, and they're supposed to get 100 shots each week for the next several weeks. So I was able to make an appointment and go down at 9:45 Saturday morning the next day and get my first shot. And my second shot is scheduled for, 3 or 4 weeks later. But they schedule that all at the same time. Now that's a good thing. And the more that gets out that can be spread amongst our population and our residents is great. But it's also very confusing because that's a federal direct to those pharmacies. It's not going through a state distribution system. So nobody at the state is aware necessarily of what's going on. And certainly the county is not directly aware of what's going on with those private companies. We were asked, well, why would Walgreens and CVS get them directly from the federal government? If you would recall, the federal government tapped both Walgreens and CVS to supply the shots directly to our long-term care facilities and nursing homes. And so that's what they did. And those are the companies that have provided all the shots to our nursing home residents, both locally and state and nationally. And that's why they were involved in it, and they already have the system in place to do it. But I just find it ironic that you can sign up for 3 or 4 different places and just wait till you get called. And I guess that is what's happening. People are signing up at multiple levels, multiple lists at the hospital, at Walgreens, CVS, and at the county, and hope that they get a call from somebody to get their vaccination. So of course that is going on. You have any and that's what I know about vaccine at the moment. Any questions from anybody on the vaccine issue?
Just based on what you described, Dave, it's going to be hard for them to kind of keep stats on this, right? How are we going to know how many people in the county are really vaccinated? I mean, I guess if we know a number, we know there's more. So that's
exactly. I mean, somehow I would presume Walgreens or CVS has to report back through somebody somewhere, and maybe hopefully it's being compiled at some level as to how many people in Door County or how many people in Wisconsin.
Ask your residency, or do they know your residency at Walgreens? How does that work?
They didn't ask anything except show something proof of age so that you were in the qualifying group.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks.
That was it.
Would that be a good question? I see that Louise is on, for her to ask the task force next time they meet?
It's not going to change anything.
No, but I mean, just if we know, if Walgreens or CVS, if they're rifling that information back to the county.
That's probably a question better left to Department of Public Health.
Okay.
Rather than the long-term opening task force.
Okay.
Public health is on that. Public health is on there when we have the meeting. Sue Powers is, and so is Dan Kane.
Yeah, but at the moment, there's not a lot of communication between those entities as to what's being delivered to those companies and what's not.
Okay.
But again, everything changes on a daily or weekly basis. Walgreens just started going out to the general public last Saturday for the first time. My understanding was they weren't actually planning on rolling that out till March 1st and start their national advertising that they were doing that. And the vaccines came in a week or 2 early. So they just put it on their website, and anybody who saw it could go ahead and sign up. So, I was quite shocked that in 5 minutes I could get a shot the next day at Walgreens. Given the difficulty that we've had, trying to get them at the hospital and the county level health department. So the other thing, the discussion, Joe Kresbeck, the Director of Human Services at the County Health Department resides under, spoke to us today. Also, there were several questions as to the COVID is trailing down. There's been no new cases in Door County or Kewaunee County for the last couple of days. They hope that continues. Kind of the general feeling was that might be because of There's all these variants out there and they're very concerned about, a flare up again, of course. But I think the general feeling based on the conversation today was that probably this lull at this point in time is because we're through the holidays now. We're through those 2 or 3 holidays where everybody was getting together in groups, and now we're several weeks after that, and the aftermath of that get together and those holidays, we're just kind of past that 2 to 4 week transmission period, if you will, and that may be why it's dropping, and it's like that nationwide. However, there are outbreaks where some of these variants are, and that of course needs to be watched. But nobody feels that this is the end of it, and that this is on its downward leg. Going forward to the future, everybody is very cautious as to what's going to happen once we get a little bit further into the spring and people start moving around again. We are a long ways from getting vaccine into the majority of people. Again, you are familiar with the news reports just like anybody else. They're talking anywhere from the end of May to the end of September before all the vaccine is actually rolled out and gotten into people's arms. So it will certainly be a while before we get back to some semblance of normal, if we ever do. But, the other thing that at the county level, they are reevaluating during the month of March when they may start reopening buildings. I do know that the library system is going to go into their next phase of reopening a little bit again, starting, I think it's March 1st, and they have published a plan for that. So hopefully people will be happy with that. And the county will continue to evaluate during the month of March, getting everybody back inside and reopening the buildings and allowing for better general public access. You can still do anything you need to do, but you need at the county building, but you need to do it by appointment. And when you go there, you're escorted to your various places that you need to go by somebody on staff that maintains the COVID precautions. So that's what I have as far as the COVID update from the county level. If anybody has any other questions, I'll try and answer.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks, Dave. Okay, item number 4, discussion regarding potential extension of the Village of Sister Bay's declaration of public health emergency. I make a motion that we approve resolution 45302162021, which extends our public health emergency through March 30th of 2021. Motion by Berto,
I'll second it.
second by Bell. Any discussion? All those in favor respond with an aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Carried. Item number 5, discussion regarding resolution number 45202162021, which authorizes amendments to the Door County Tourism Zone Commission operating agreement that will allow an increase in the room tax rate that is charged in Door County to 8%. Motion by Berto,
Second.
second by Bell. Questions, comments, discussion?
Just a quick comment on the letter. When it got converted to a PDF, I think the layout of it changed or something changed. So I'll have to clean that up a little bit.
We don't need the letter as now that the letter of intent. We don't need it all because we have the resolution that we will forward.
We'll just move with the resolution then.
Yep.
Okay, I'd just like to say that after further thought and actually some discussion with a few hotel owners who are not in favor of this, I'm strongly against it. I think that, and here's part of the reason why. So last year was a pandemic, right? The beginning of the year, March, April, places closed down. People seemed like, uh-oh, this is really, really bad for tourism. Fast forward 6 months. Last summer, they were scrambling on most weekends to find places. We were overbooked with a pandemic. And the people that came were largely first timers that had not been here. And so now we have people rebooking. Bookings are ahead of last year, even before the cancellations, okay, of the people that were new last year. So now we have a bunch of people coming, and this is good on one sense, okay. However, we were full before the pandemic. we now have a whole big group of people that pretty much booked us up that are going to want to also come back. If we look at 10 years ago, the Tourism Bureau had less than $250,000 to spend on marketing, 250,000 total. Last year was 3.4 million, 12 times what they had 10 years ago. It's worked. They've done a fantastic job. Hats off. Love it. It's all good. However, the idea that we need to now give them another $2 million to try to incentivize more people to come when we have parking issues and public drinking issues and room full issues and infrastructure issues is a really bad idea. So taxing people just for the sake of tax because you can does not mean it's the right thing to do. This is a bad idea and I am firmly against it.
Okay, I'm gonna go along with Pat on that. I voted against it in the beginning, and I second Pat's thoughts.
I have a question. How much will the tax be on a room in Sister Bay between the state tax, the county tax, Pratt, and the 8% room tax? Do we know? We should know.
Right now, it's 11.5%, so you're gonna add on 2.5% more.
14%.
Oh,
And if they don't think that'll drive business away, I don't know.
They did do the study.
well,
They commissioned a study, and what the study found, they received that back, is that it does not deter visitors. You will find that 8% is pretty standard across the state. And if you go across the country, tends to be on the low side. I think when I was out in San Francisco a couple of years ago, I was paying somewhere between 16 and 18% between room tax and all the other taxes. So it is not going to hurt tourism. I believe I do not have that study or that report on hand to reference. I just know bits and pieces that are in it. It also showed in there that the communities that had a higher room tax were better equipped and addressing issues pertaining to tourism infrastructure items, money that the communities could use on things in their own community from the increase of money. I don't know if you know more, Louise, that you would like to chime in about.
Hold on one second. Oh, I'm unmuted. Wow. What I know is that the additional funds, some of it goes to, you're absolutely right, Pat. Some of it will go to Destination Door County. Some of it will go to more than they would have gotten before, would go to DCTZ. So that would be the tourism zone to fund their administrative costs. Because I think that I know that the amount of properties that they manage and collect, thankfully, and I think it's one of the few in the state that has this kind of system, and collect has tripled since they put that into place. So they get more money, but so do the municipalities, significantly more to use for what they want to need, what they need for certainly to use what they want for infrastructure and so forth, but then also to use for tourism, which could be anything, including, not to mention the Wiltshire property. But yeah, everybody gets more money. I think that it's not just DDC.
Chad?
Yeah, Pat, I mean, when this was a thought in Dave's head, I've been having discussions with him about him since September, and I was very much opposed to it. Going through the process, and now I'm at an ad hoc committee for the tourism zone, which is grossly underfunded and probably due to state statute not receiving money the proper way. If we don't do this, at the end of the day, I do believe the tourism zone is going to start charging us municipalities to do the work that they're doing, because we are receiving a big chunk of the money. there's an incredible amount of work that's done in this collection, and they have one employee, and it's clear to see that it's grossly underfunded. This is just a tourism zone, not the whole tax in general. You know, if you look at this little graph there, I thought that was nice. I think it would have been great to have in the beginning. The intent is for this money to facilitate through, and I do think it's in a way it's a cop-out easy tax, because it's the only way you can guarantee you're only getting people that aren't from Door County to pay this. But most of this money will be filtered back through to us, possibly to allow for us to have some sort of public transportation someday. I think the benefits outweigh the cost. I was skeptical the study isn't gonna affect our tourism, and ultimately, one person that's against it doesn't want more tourists. The other, doesn't want us, to lose tourists. I don't think it's gonna have a play in that, so to speak.
And I think when Pat, when you were talking about, that now DDC would be getting over $5 million, they still can only use, and what's on that graph, 3.995 million, and the other almost $1 million is unbudgeted, and that is to work on other things countywide. For example, it states transportation, local grants, environmental leave no trace initiatives, etc. It goes way beyond just what has been done. And there is work with DDC's executive board and the tourism executive board also on restructuring how DDC operates and who they are responsible to. And so we're looking at a much bigger picture on all entities involved, redistribution of all of the money, which certainly is going to help not just the village, but also SBAA and every other community business organization. And funding the tourism zone so we can hire the 1.5 or 2 employees that they need to have, and reevaluating DDC's role and their mission, and trying to really start something more countywide with all 19 entities involved being stakeholders, that DDC has to be accountable to us.
Well, why don't we do that before we give them another $2 million? That's all nice and good. We don't have anything for sure. This talks about potential. And then at the end, they put the disclaimer right there. It says destination marketing, etc. Marketing is bring more people in. It is not increase infrastructure. It is not helping the local municipalities. It is driving more tourism.
Well, that's only on that one thing. If you look at,
right. That's in addition to the $1 million that they get just because.
I think that we need to be cognizant of the fact that we're not giving them $2 million. We are remitting tax from some of our visitors. And I would actually disagree with Chad pretty emphatically that it's not a cop-out to pass this tax on to people that are coming from out of the area that are putting an extra burden on our resources, that are making us have to do more for infrastructure.
I'm not saying it's a cop-out, it's just the easiest way to get non-Door County people.
I get it. I just want to pick on you, Chad, just a little. So
I've debated this all the time. It's the easiest way to do it. It's not fair to lodging people, but at the end of the day, it doesn't affect lodging numbers.
But it's not the lodging people that are paying for it. Yes, they're having to collect it.
It's not their money. It's adding to the whole bill. And if you study economics, you do believe there's price sensitivity, blah, blah, blah.
Now you look at the Loeffler curve, and where are we at the Loeffler curve? I mean,
study's been done where it doesn't affect it, at least in terms of historically similar.
That's my point exactly. I don't think it's going to affect it. We're going to have more people with more deterioration and more pressure on our infrastructure.
We're going to have some resources to combat it. And also Destination Door County is looking at this as a more mature market. So they know that there's a lot more maintenance that needs to go into it. There's a lot of infrastructure needs. There's a lot of supporting of bringing workers in from out of the area, because we don't have enough employees out there in this county. And that's something that they've got to do. And we absolutely have to hold their feet to the fire on that to make sure they do it.
So how about this?
But I think that the other thing we need to do is we need to be mindful that we're likely not in compliance with state statute. That's a very fair point that DCTZ has. How it is structured now, it's very likely that it is not in compliance. And fundamentally, I think that we should try and be in compliance, if nothing else. I think that everything else that would come from this is also a benefit. So that's just an additional thing, but it's not an insignificant factor.
Vivian?
Initially, when this was proposed, if you're looking at the chart to the left, the former, okay, so 30% of the room tax collected went to the municipalities. Out of the 70%, 4% went to the administration. That was the part that needed the increase. The tiniest part needed the increase. But to increase that, they had to increase everything. And that just,
The 4% is basically what Nate was just talking about, that is not legal according to state statutes.
so,
DDC,
but it's supposed to come out of our 30%, not the 70.
Well, I'll tell you,
No,
as
no.
somebody that's going to be determining how we now fund, or at least intellect or on a abstract, how we fund the tourism zone, I'm pretty sure that it's going to be us as Sister Bay paying a percentage to fund the tourism zone, which we're all going to agree needs a bigger budget.
Correct.
So I'm not saying you need to be.
That
forced to get
section
this,
needs a bigger
but
budget.
at the end of the day, we pay Louise. We wouldn't have to pay Louise with this. It'll be hundreds of thousands of dollars of impact to our community if we don't do this. And that's okay. We can make that choice. But at the end of the day, somebody's got to pay for it. It's going to be the villages. And at least in this scenario, Door County Tourism, or the destination Door County, will be paying for it. The reality is we're lucky to even have the Pratt tax. No other municipality can get it because people in Madison got their heads up their finances. But the fact that all this infrastructure that we know, and all these expenses, our parks, how much it costs to run a tourist town, and ultimately then it's just going to be us property taxes that are going to be paying more for it, and that sucks, but
Does
that's
this,
the way it'll go.
or is this, it says proposed, potential, I'm sorry. It says
There's no
potential.
guarantee, even if we vote for it, it's going to pass 14 of the 19 municipalities.
But if it does, can they restructure where that money goes? Is this guaranteed is my question.
There's a statute that has the breakdown. Is this a state statute, how it is? Now, as far as can the tourism, us as the tourism zone, we send 2 delegates to that. It's going to be very important for those 2 people to be very active and very, diligent in leading our cause in making sure the destination Door County is doing the right thing. There is risk, as Pat says. I mean, there's no guarantees, but there's no guarantees in any of this crap. We have to do the work. We as board members do the work. Nothing's guaranteed. So there's parts of it that I feel like aren't my favorite scenario, but I think it would be irresponsible for us not to go forward on this if we care about our village.
So I've heard several people in favor say we're going to have to keep our foot to the fire that this happens the way we think it's going to. When in other situations, when we've had mixed feelings, or the idea of, okay, we don't know what the unintended consequences are, there's sunsets. So that then you have to take a breather, review what the change made, and reinstate that, reinforce, revote that, yep, we want to keep this. It's what we thought it's going to be. And if it isn't, it reverts to what we are. At the very least, I would strongly encourage us to say, we'll go with this if it has a 3-year sunset. So that in 3 years from now, we take a pause, we look at what's happened. Has it worked out the way we wanted to? Does it need more work? Do we want to reinstate it? You can always reinstate it. You get it? Long as it works. If it doesn't work, it goes away.
I don't know how statute works that way, if it can work that way for this. I mean, Randy may be able to tell us, but least that when Dave presented, he didn't think that was an option, that you'd have to go through the whole process to change the tax back. And nobody's going to jump on that bandwagon and do it. I mean, he's doing a lot of work as it is. I don't know if that's an option. I'm not against that option, but I don't, just because it sounds practical, it doesn't mean it's legal.
Right. This is step one. 13 out of the 19 municipalities need to say, yes, we are interested in doing this. That's what this document is saying. And then from there, the tourism zone is the one who contracts with a marketing entity, okay? That currently is DDC. And we have two representatives to the tourism zone. It is Bo and it is Rob Zoschke, is back on there now. And they will go to those meetings and fight for what the village is interested in having them discuss, and trying to get consensus from all of those people on the tourism zone board to move this forward, to come up with a contract with DDC that holds them accountable. So it's just step one. If Dave Elliott cannot get 13 out of the 19 municipalities, getting deep into the weeds here, to some degree is a moot point. They're laying out what the proposal is for moving forward so that we can better understand it. And one of the key components in this new structure is that DDC is giving $500,000 more to all of the 19 individual business associations. That is huge for everybody. Now, does that mean that whatever Sister Bay's share of that would be, that if they're now footing that bill, that we can reduce our the money that we give to SBAA? That's a good possibility where we could do something else with that money. We don't have to. We can still give them what we want to give them and have been giving them according to our contracts based on room tax that comes in, and then they would even have more money. So it's all on what we want to do. And just like Pratt, I believe that the people using the parks, the roads, the amenities, the upkeep. I mean, we know what our parks budget is and how it has ballooned. I think we, as a board, as a whole, we are very happy with how far we have come. I think we're all very well aware that we have a lot of parks and public space. And I think our budget's over $500,000, for all of that space. That's huge. If we can either do other things or offset costs with the additional money that the village will receive, I think it's remiss of us to say, no, we're just going to have our Sister Bay taxpayers pay for everything, even though it is the tourists who probably use it more than the locals. That's my pitch.
Don't you think if people are on the fence, if you said to them, okay, you're on the fence, rather than voting no, vote yes, because in 3 years, we all have to re-vote. That way, if you don't like it, you can say no then, and you got an out. A sunset is the best thing all the way around. You're going to get a better chance of getting it approved because it's a trial period, and then it goes away. You can reinstate it, just takes another vote. It's just like
I would say that would be then what Rob and Bo, if that's the direction that the board wants to go, that is what is discussed at the tourism zone, then making a contract with DDC. That, this whole structure, that's where that sunset clause would be appropriate.
Again, and I'm not a legal scholar, but if 13 of 19 municipalities have to vote for this, 13 of 19 municipalities would have to vote against this down the road to change it. I just think this sunset thing is a moot point for this type of procedure. I don't.
They don't have to vote again. They don't have to vote again and it goes away. It goes away. You vote again to reinstate it. So it's just like the referendum we had on the school.
But can you do this with the statute? Randy, could you chime in and maybe give us a little bit of legal knowledge on this?
Well, I'll be happy to do what I can, in that I'm not an expert on this particular statute, but I will agree that Pat is interpreting a sunset clause correctly, that if you vote for it to end on a certain date, it will end on that date unless action is taken before that to renew it or to eliminate the sunset clause.
This keeps the feet on the fire of everybody involved, that what was proposed happens and that it is what you intended, that there aren't unintended consequences, that the program doesn't change. Because if you give it to them and there's no sunset, you don't have any power left. Now is the time to make sure it's in there so you do have power. So those first 3 years, you set it up and then it goes away.
Randy, thank you. I understand what a sunset clause is. What I'm saying is, I don't think if we vote for a sunset clause right here, it has any relevance, because there's 13 of 19 other municipalities doing this. And we could say 3 years from now, we don't want to participate anymore, but it's already statute, like, I just don't think it works that way. I'm not saying it can't be redone that way in that structure, but I don't think we get to just choose to not be in it anymore, having a sunset clause when, you know what I'm saying?
This is our time to either say, yes, we're in favor of it, no, we're not, or we are with this change. So all I'm saying is to say, we will support this with this one change. That's all. And then if they don't like it, they don't have to like it, then they may or may not get our support when it comes to a vote at the DDC. All I'm saying is build in, start to, and honestly, I don't see why it's not a good idea. If a municipality's on the fence, you can say to them, hey, guess what? If it doesn't work out, it goes away. So vote for it and give us a chance.
Louise, what's our room tax revenue per year in Sister Bay?
It's roughly about, oh my God.
I think it's 600,000.
I was gonna say, yeah, this year we'll be down about 11%, 12%. The county will be down 8%. And I would say about 600, 650, something like that.
Well, what's our total hotel room? 20 million? Is that right?
20 million. You're talking about the gross revenue?
Yeah, the gross revenue. I'm just trying to.
Well, first of all, the number I gave you, hold on. The number I gave you is just room tax, and maybe Tasha can jump in, I don't know. But that's total gross room tax.
Yeah, the room tax Sister Bay actually receives totals just under 200,000 a year.
So we
Room
get
tax?
200,000 in room tax.
Yes. Yeah.
That's our 30%.
Oh, that's your 30%.
Yeah.
Okay, because I was
Yes,
gonna
the
say,
amount we actually receive as the village that we can make
Gotcha.
use of. Yeah,
sorry,
I get where you're coming with the 600,000, which
yeah,
then
is the
I'll
gross
make-
amount that we collect totally, and then what comes back to the village is a percentage of that. Sorry, yeah, okay.
Yep. Yep, we're all on the same page.
And that's a,
Pat, I have a clarifying question. So are you saying that we should add the sunset clause to this resolution tonight?
Correct.
We
should
cannot
say
do that. Then we have to deny it. Because we have to approve this resolution that 5 other communities have approved as is. If any community makes any changes, Dave Elliott then has to take that document back to the other communities that have already signed off and the other ones that he has met with, then to change the document and go through this, because everybody has to sign off on the same wording. Nothing can be different.
That's fine. It's an easy change and it's a no-brainer. If somebody already is for it, why wouldn't they vote for a sunset?
I think that we need to be clear that if that's what we want to do, we're actually going to kill it, because there's been all this time and effort put into it. And if that's what you're saying, Pat, which I think is what it is, that's what you're saying. That's your opinion, of course, but I think that's what, to say that, oh, we should have it come back, I don't think is realistic.
Yeah, I'm not going to ask Dave Elliott to come back to the 12 different or 11 other municipalities that he has already met with, made presentations, giving them the documentation. 5 have signed. The others he's waiting to hear from, just like Sister Bay tonight, to go through all of that work.
Okay,
If we
so
want to push the tourism zone to incorporate that into its contract with DDC, that's a different story.
so should we think about that when a developer comes to us and they put all kinds of time, money, and effort and engineering and plans, and we say, nope, go back and change that. And then they come back 3 months later and we go, nope, go change it again. And they come back 3 months later and we go, nope, go change that again. This is normal standard course of business.
I think there's a big difference there because the developer has an interest in it. Where
And we've got an interest in it. And
but
so
the-
does Dave
so
Elliott.
we're
He
gonna,
doesn't have to come back. All he does is say, this is the exact same document. Here it is redlined, add one sentence. That it's the bottom, it's the amendment. This document stands, it will sunset in 36 months, period. That's it. And then in 24 months from now or 30 months, he sends it back out to say, okay, we need to do analysis and I want everybody's revote. It's just like that. That's why you don't give politicians lifelong periods. You know, they gotta revote. This is something big and there's people on the fence, and this gives an opportunity to see how it's going to work and hold their foot to the fire that it works the way they're saying it's going to work. And then you reinforce it and confirm 3 years from now by voting again. That's all I'm asking for.
$50,000 is what we're asking the taxpayers to absorb if we,
That's
If we
not the
don't
way.
do it.
That's not the way to look at this. I don't think.
well, but it's a
I'll tell you-
practical impact of it.
So, okay, so how do you measure the additional impact put on here when you're increasing the tourism budget by 50%? So if our parks budget went from 300,000 10 years ago to 500,000, that's a $200,000 increase. So yeah, you're going to get another 50, but if that goes from 500 to 700, because now we're just increased their budget again by 50%, you just dug a hole from 150 down, 300 down. So it's not absorbing the taxpayers on 50,000, it's potentially asking them to pay another 300,000.
I'm just more comfortable asking the visitors who are using these resources than I am to ask the residents of Sister Bay personally. That's what I come down and
I agree.
that's
why
what
I'm
I
saying,
believe.
I'll go for it, just sunset it. That way in 3 years, everybody goes, yep, it's great. And yep, keep it going. I'm done. We can have a vote. That's fine.
So, so you're not, are you, I don't even know how to word this. So you're not interested in the village accumulating additional money for infrastructure because, Pat, you are worried that the proposal on how this is going to be structured will not be followed?
I'm concerned that with a 50% increase in marketing spend, we're going to see greater impact to infrastructure, increasing the taxes on the residents in a greater percentage than the additional money we're going to get through going with this. So no, I am not against the village receiving more funds. What I'm against is not knowing what the unintended consequences of feeding the machine another 50% of marketing dollars. That's why I'm asking for a sunset. If 3 years from now it works great, super, excellent, glad we did it. Let's keep doing it.
Wrong.
If it isn't, you say, whoa, it didn't work out the way we thought. Yeah, we got another 50,000, but we're spending 200,000. So our taxpayers don't get any more money. They're digging in their pocket to pay for the visitors.
Where are you coming up with the 50% increase?
It's not
Okay.
50%.
Right now, they get $3.4 million. They're going to get $5.25
Read the next
million.
lines. Do some analysis. 300 comes back, so we don't have to pay for the tourism zone, which we're gonna be paying for if we don't get
900
this.
goes, and they
I'm
give away
saying
900.
To the business associations.
Maybe.
Do the math if you're gonna do it.
Maybe,
Okay. Yes,
They
maybe.
have to.
okay.
Oh, okay. It says right on the thing, okay, that at the end, destination marketing, etc. They can do whatever they want with it. All I'm saying is make sure they do what they say they're going to do. If they do, you just renew it 3 years.
That is what the contract is that will all be laid out if this moves forward with the tourism zone and DDC. There is a contract written that says exactly what happens. This is a proposal that I believe Dave Elliott came up with. That doesn't mean that, because it says marketing, et cetera, that, that will be in the contract. And I guess if that's a concern, that we think that there's enough money, then our representatives on the tourism zone then fight against that wording in a contract if it moves forward. This is Dave's proposal.
The tourism
And-
zone chooses, as Denise said, destination Door County. They can say, well, we're not going to fund you anything anymore. And they can take that room tax money and fund an outside group. They could create their own, look for another option. Tourism zone controls this. To Denise's point, there will be a contract in place. They will be the ones overseeing this. And we will have 2 representatives on that. Is it guaranteed? Fuck. If people are capable of doing their shit, it's guaranteed. But what else can we do? I mean, I don't know.
We can put a sunset in so that if it isn't what we thought, it goes away. That's
Sunset
what we can do. That's all I'm asking for. I will vote yes with a sunset. That's all I'm saying. Go ahead, take a vote.
Are you going to make the motion?
I would
We've
have
got
to,
a motion already, Denise.
we
What?
have to rescind that.
Oh,
motion.
I made the motion an hour ago. Oh, yeah. Was there a second, Janelle?
I'll second.
Yeah, Nate
I second
seconded.
On Nate's-
Okay. So it was as presented, not, this is a motion as presented, not with the sunset clause. And Janelle, could you please take a roll call?
Sure.
Can I
Okay.
make a motion to put a sunset in? If you're giving me that
Well,
option,
we already had a motion and a second on the floor, so.
Already a motion.
yeah.
would people care to rescind their motion that I can make a motion that adds a sunset, please?
No, I don't want to. We have a motion on the floor. We should do a roll call vote on it. I think
Yeah.
that's appropriate action.
Correct.
Okay, so we're gonna take a roll call now. Baker,
Going to vote no, as I originally did.
okay, Bell,
Yes.
okay. Berto,
Yes.
Nino,
No.
okay, Duffy,
No.
and am I missing anybody?
Me,
Oh, Chad,
yes.
Motion tied, therefore it failed.
I will make a motion to approve the proposal with the addition that there is a 36-month sunset clause added.
Motion by Duffy. Is there a second?
I will second it.
Second by Baker. Roll call, Janelle?
okay, Baker,
Yes.
Can we have just one bit of discussion here quick?
Sure, Nate. Yes.
I just think that we should, as I stated before, I think that this motion is effectively a no vote on this because it's not going to go back through. And the analogy to say that if we make developers do this, that would be to presume that Mr. Elliott has a personal stake and is personally going to benefit from this, as if a developer does when they're doing a development, they personally gain from that. Dave is not going to personally gain from this. So this is effectively killing this room tax increase, which I think is what you're looking to do. But
I'm not.
that's absolutely, you're right.
So why would I make a motion to approve it if I want to kill it? And
I
I think by now you probably know how I feel. I don't hold much back.
Pat, I am very clear on how you feel.
No,
I think
I'm not voting on it. I'm saying I'll go along with it so long as there's a sunset. That's as straightforward as it can be. And I won't be mad about it at all. Can go either way.
I can tell from the smile on your face, Pat.
And I apologize. I in no way, shape, or form mean to condemn or speak poorly of Mr. Elliott's character. Don't know him that well, don't think he is gonna profit personally. Sorry if that's the
Well, I
intent.
guess, can you understand what I'm saying? The difference between a developer and that then? Can you appreciate what I'm saying there?
Sure, bad
Okay.
example then. I still think it's a good premise.
Well, but there's a little, there's some differences.
My motion still stands. Anybody want to second it?
Baker seconded it.
Okay,
I seconded it.
all right.
So we're going to take a roll call again, Janelle.
Okay, Baker,
Yes,
Bell,
No,
Bertle,
No,
Duffy,
Yes,
Kadunkel,
I'm just gonna say yes, because it at least gets something, and if it has to go back to these other places, at least we've done that much, so I'll say yes.
oh, Chad.
and Nino.
Yes.
What good does not saying yes there? It does absolutely,
right. This pushes it forward. I mean,
it
and
doesn't
again,
push forward, Pat, it kills it still, but it doesn't.
well,
Absolutely.
anybody that was in favor of it, why wouldn't they vote again in favor of it? We're not taking anything away from it. We're just saying we want to confirm it 3 years from now. That's all.
Okay, so can I?
All 11 communities. Uh-huh.
Can I read this motion back just so that we're sure it's right? A motion was made by Duffy, seconded by Baker, that the village board passes and adopts resolution number 452 that declares the village's approval of the increase in the room tax rate in Door County to 8% and authorizes an applicable amendment to the Door County Tourism Zone Commission operating agreement on the condition that a 36-month sunset clause must be imposed. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. Randy? When you
Yes.
want to reconsider something, it's somebody who voted against it that can bring up to reconsider
somebody
Or-
who voted in favor of it.
in favor of it. Okay, I would like to have a little bit of a continued conversation here. About Chad's vote, because I don't know how key Sister Bay would be in getting the 13 out of the 19. And so if we were split and tied, then it's nowhere basically in Sister Bay, but it doesn't mean then, and like you said, that you think it's killing it. And then Dave Elliott would not have to go back to all the other 11 communities again and try to convince them to change it, re-sign it, or whatever. Bo?
Just a quick summary. So let's say this gets voted and it gets voted no. Then this proposition has to rely on the other communities voting yes to move forward. If we voted yes with the sunset clause, Dave Elliott's got to go back and track down the other communities. And he's not going, I can tell you right now, he's not going to want to do that. It's not going to happen. So that's just kind of where we are.
I don't think we should be putting words in people's mouths. That is hearsay. It is conjecture. The man has put a lot of time forward. Whether he does or he doesn't, I don't think is right to say. That is not your place. It is none of our places. Unless you have had a prior conversation with him and he says, if this changes in any way, shape, or form, I'm letting it die. If somebody has, then you can speak. Other than that, I think you're.
I have heard Mr. Elliott say such words, paraphrased a bit there. He has said that to me. Dave he's a good friend of mine. And I know that he has put a great deal of effort forward on this, and he's not going to take and recirculate this, which is why I believe that this is effectively killing it. Whether you're seeing it that way or not, and I can appreciate from your perspective, that may not be the case, but from
we're talking
my
about one
knowledge
thing.
base, that is.
He can go back and say, hey, Sister Bay is the place to be. And they're in support of this, so long as there's a checks and balance that 3 years from now, we just have to re-vote on it again. So we're adding one sentence to the contract. It goes through, you get what you want, and 3 years from now, you just put the double stamp on it.
And there's a chance they'll still get the 13.
Sure, without us.
Yep.
I think that we should remember this day when we have to pay into the room tax commission to pay for the services they're rendering, and they adjust it according to state statute. And I was wrong. It's going to be $30,000 for that 5% flip that they're giving to us that they really shouldn't. That's
It's gonna cost-
$30,000 we're going to ask our taxpayers to come up
It's
with.
gonna cost us at least 30 grand, if not more, based on our percentage of tax room revenue to the village. That's where we're gonna have to get the money from. You know, it's gonna be the villages, because right now, how much work do you guys do in collections? Bo, Tasha, how much work do you do collecting this room tax?
That's not our branch. We don't
You
do
don't do
that.
shit. And
We don't do hardly anything.
it's a very expensive, lengthy, big build item. So it's coming our way, guys.
Mhm.
You just raised taxes, Pat, in a roundabout way for us. So there you go.
Okay.
Denise, were you gonna, or someone that was on the winning side of the motion would have to make the motion to reconsider, Randy, right?
Yeah, well, and then once I started saying it out loud, then I realized Dave Elliott can choose to do nothing with it if that's what he chooses.
Okay.
So, you know, he can take it for what it is, and Louise, would you text Dave Elliott? I believe he's in Sturgeon Bay tonight. Can you tell him text him and tell him the outcome of this vote, please?
Yeah, sure.
Thank you. Okay, agenda item number 6, discussion regarding the recommendation from the Plan Commission that the village board pass and adopt resolution number 454-0216-2020. Should that be 21?
That's a mistake. I fixed it already.
Okay. That approves a certified survey map that was submitted by representatives of the Charles and Catherine Ellickson Trust that splits parcel number 1810006312842C4, which has been assigned an address of 2612 Peterson Court into 2 lots. I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Second by Baker. Any discussion? All those in favor respond with an aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Item number 7, discussion regarding the Plan Commission's recommendation that a 6-month moratorium on transient lodging establishments in the B1, B2, and B3 districts, as well as conditional use permits in all districts, be in effect. So that was an email that was sent out later this afternoon. I do have one question for Randy pertaining to that. It specifically states in the title of the document and throughout the document about B1, B2, and B3. And then it says all conditional permits. Now, is that good enough to say all conditional use permits, or should it be referenced that it is conditional use permits in all zoning districts?
I feel that saying all conditional use permits, and it says as well as any conditional use permits in the title, that suggests to me that's not restricted to the commercial zoning districts.
Okay, because someone may interpret it that way, if we're not implicit.
Well, we did say any, and we said, we used the words any and all conditional use permits. So it's
Okay.
any conditional use permit and all conditional use permit. So that would be a stretch for someone to say it only applies to the B1, B2, and B3 districts for conditional use permits.
Okay.
Could add in conditional use permits in all districts. Then there's no,
I would feel
No doubt.
better if we add it to the title and elsewhere in the document where it references that same wording.
We can make that
Sure.
amendment.
Are there questions?
Nope.
I thought the wording was awkward, section 3, paragraph 2. During the term of this moratorium, the zoning and administrator nor any of the employees in the village administrative office may not accept or process.
It should be may accept.
Yeah, I was gonna say something's off there. Okay.
Anything else? I'll make a motion to approve as amended. Motion by Berto,
I'll second it, Denise.
second by Baker. All those in favor respond with an aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Carried.
So I just have a quick question. In doing this, we are wanting to slow down the growth rate of tourism, right? In transient housing?
No, that's,
No,
Oh,
that-
okay. What?
we are trying to address issues that have been surfacing that the code does not. Maybe let's say there's some gray area. We would like a little more black and white for developers and for the village to protect itself. So within, this last year or so, we've been seeing these little cracks and going, this needs to be addressed.
And so by filling these cracks, would you anticipate it making it easier for developers to develop transient lodging, or reducing the developer's ability to secure approval to add transient housing?
It's what the plan commission in their deliberations will come up with. I cannot speak on how those conversations will go and what new regulations may or may not be. I mean, we're going to address, obviously, the things where we know that there's these cracks or these gray areas, but how that conversation goes, I don't think any of us know.
Okay.
Is there, as a board member, and certainly this will eventually go to public hearing, for the changes that we make, is there a particular view that you have that you'd like to share, with Scott, Nate, and I now as we move forward?
No, I was just
Okay.
curious, if there was a intent or a problem that we said, oh, wait a minute, we need to do this because.
Gray areas,
Okay.
trying to make things fit where there's not a true delineated place for them. And probably tightening up a couple of little loopholes also. So.
I think to bring it back, I think you were on plan when we did the sandwich boards, which was my reference point for everything on plan commission. As unintended consequences. We thought we were doing good stuff with those sandwich boards, and man, did we get that wrong. So
Yeah.
it's trying to prevent another sandwich board.
Okay, item number 8. Discussion on the request from Door Hotel Holdings LLC for the issuance of a Class B beer license, Class C wine license, soda license, and approval of Christopher Schmelz as agent for the business located at 2329 Mill Road.
Do you need me to speak on this? Because the application is in the packet.
Yep.
The only thing that's still outstanding would be the fire inspection, and that would have to be done before the license is actually issued.
So we're going to set the sprinklers off and see how well they work?
Perfect.
Before the carpet goes in, of course. No, I'll make a motion that we approve the item.
Motion by Duffy,
Second.
second by Bell. Any further discussion? All those in favor respond with an aye.
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 Opposed? Aye. Motion carried. Item number 9, discussion to approve the open book and board of review dates for 2021.
I'm sorry, I don't have those dates in front of me here at the election, but they're there in the packet. And I did ask that the assessor grant us a Zoom Board of Review meeting. So if that's not what you want to do, please let me know and I will go back to them and ask if we can set something else up.
No, I think that's just fine.
Did we just do that for a couple of years here? I mean, let's just do it 10 years out here. We could do that board review via Zoom. Easy enough to turn off the camera and mute yourself for an hour.
So are you looking for a motion to approve, Heidi, or just a point of information?
You need a motion to approve.
For the dates.
I'll make that motion as presented.
Motion by Bell,
I will second.
second by Nino. All those in favor respond with an aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Carried. Item number 10, I do not have any confirmations to recommend tonight. Item number 11, report on county activities from the county supervisor, Dave Lino. Is Dave still with us?
Doesn't look like it.
Yep, he is.
He's there.
Oh, there he is.
He's just off camera.
And
There he-
mute.
There he is.
There we go. I'm back. As far as county activities go, there's really not much to report. Next week would be the county board meeting, and admin sponsored a couple of cleanup ordinances going forward, but it really anything except, policy, books and text changes. So until we have another meeting, I don't really have anything else to report. I'm happy to always answer questions having to do with county issues if you have any.
Dave, I had sent you a message, actually, beginning of January. I just wanted to tell you how well the health department dealt with my interactions and how pleasant they were and how efficient they were. I don't know if you got that.
I did pass that along to Sue and Dan.
Great.
Yep. No, I agree. They've done a great job over this last year, and I'm sure they will continue that in the coming months. I can tell you that they are going to take monies that were allocated for contact tracing people, since that's, obviously considerably less than what it has been in the past, and they're going to move that more towards the vaccination side of things. We did approve today, I think it's like $130,000 additional funding for vaccinators, and that can be anybody from emergency services personnel to hiring, temp nurses or other people that are qualified to give those vaccinations.
Great.
Hey,
So next month I'll have more.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Village of Sister Bay Administrators Report. Bo?
Yes, I will run through it. So for the Pebble Beach updated, we are past the Natural Resources Board and we are going on to the Joint Review Board, which is the last step in this process. So hopefully this is the last time you'll hear an update about it before we get an official answer. The comprehensive plan update, this is something that we're working on. I'm just trying to gather some prices and timelines for getting the comprehensive plan updated for another 20-year plan. I've got one firm's proposal and I've reached out to several others and still waiting on the proposals. So once I have a couple competitive proposals, we can move forward with that. The Wiltsey property, most of you probably know, but the village is officially owners of the 56-acre parcel. So next steps for that process are underway and the committees should be meeting soon to discuss. So that's exciting. The marina, just an update there. They actually have completed a new software update for marina reservations and a little bit of organizations there. We're still working on the bathroom remodel. And we are going to start the discussion for additional cameras out there before the next season. So everything out there is moving along scheduled. The wastewater treatment plant upgrade, Nate, I will be contacting you very soon. I'd like to schedule a common tech committee meeting before the next board meeting so we can keep moving on that. So we should have something going on the board agenda at the next meeting if we get everything done. So that's
And
just-
that meeting will have our new member, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Any other questions for Bo?
So I'm curious on this. So we purchase, in essence, Liberty Grove property, and now the village owns it. Is it just automatically now considered the village? Do we need to do something to make it the village?
Randy, do you want to answer that one?
I'll be happy to do that. It does have to go through an annexation process. It's a short form annexation process, and I'll lay out the timeline to do that. There's going to be some votes that need to be taken to annex it, notices to the town clerk, notice to school districts, and notice to the state, all those type of things. But it's a real short form type of thing as opposed to a regular annexation because it's municipal owned.
Okay.
And I'm sure Bo's got some pretty extensive files on Sister Bay's master plan to annex all of Liberty Grove that should be already written up a long time ago.
Boy.
Nothing like stirring the pot there, Nate.
Careful, Nate.
Okay, we also have in the packet on page 79, the facilities managers report. Are there any questions on that?
No.
And
So-
kudos to Louise and Maluska for coming up with the Tunnel of Love and outfitting that. And I think it's a great way to utilize the tunnel and have it up for a little bit longer. I think it was a great idea.
If I could, Bo, if you could make a note for our next marina meeting that we potentially look into alternative ice eaters. It seems like every year we're replacing 2 or 3 of those, and if I'm not mistaken, they're like $1,500 a piece.
Yeah, they're not cheap. We
We
can put
don't
that.
seem to get great life out of them. That if we might do a little, see if there's an option. I don't know if there is, but try another brand, or maybe we have, maybe to get some history.
We can do some research and update the committee.
Thanks.
Okay, we also have utility operations report. Is there any comment or questions on that? Okay. The bills. I'll make a motion that we pay the bills for $198,078.17. Motion by Berto,
I'll second.
second by Bell. Are there questions?
I have nothing.
Okay, nobody has any questions. Mine were answered earlier today. All those in favor respond with an aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Carried. Committee reports. Seeing I can't look at both screens at the same time, Janelle, can you run through those, please?
Your administrative committee, they haven't met. Communications and technology, like Bo said, we'll be scheduling a meeting in the near future. Coastal byways,
Meets tomorrow morning.
okay. DCEDC,
They
I was
did.
gone. Were you there, Bo?
Yep, I was there. I can just give a brief rundown. Most of the agenda was cleanup items. This was this week on Monday. They did propose an outsourcing and accounting service there just to streamline services. So they will be doing that. They do have a new employee replacing Tom Strong. Her name is Julie Schmelzer. But other than that, most of it was just planning and cleanup.
okay. All right, sorry. Ad hoc emergency management plan has not met. Finance has not met. Fire Commission,
Has not met.
okay, Ad
Uh,
hoc. Friends of-
Go
I'm sorry,
ahead. Go ahead.
okay, Ad hoc Friends of Pebble Beach,
We meet tomorrow.
okay. Historical Society,
Met earlier in the month. They're working on some gym grants on a new Christmas market plan they're going to try in December of 2021. The other big thing that stood out, I guess, was that donations for the Shadow Fund have been very, very disappointing to this point.
okay, and what's that Christmas thing called, Pat, Scott?
It's called Christmas Market.
Okay. Okay.
Apparently, it's something that's very big over in Europe.
Okay,
And so they're gonna feed off this.
okay, Ad hoc Ice Rink,
Well, there are minutes from one of the meetings in the packet. We also met on Friday, February 12th. And Miles Danhausen has put together a presentation. They need to tweak it a little bit, but they're hoping to present it to the Parks Committee on March 1st.
okay. Ad hoc Land Acquisition,
Chad,
We haven't formed or had a meeting yet.
okay, Library Commission,
Notes are in the packet.
okay, Marina Committee,
We did have a meeting. There are minutes in the packet. Couple quick things. Our reservation revenue is up 2.5-fold at this point already versus last year. So the idea of tourism slowing down, no, it's greater demand. We also approved there was an ask for 3 one-day fishing tournaments, one in early June, one in August, and one in early October. And we said the August, it's too busy to try to do that, but June and October, absolutely. So there are going to be 25 boats to hopefully bring business in. And so we're supporting that. So thought that was a good thing.
okay, Marina Fest Committee,
Has not met. Next meeting will be March 18th.
oops. Okay, Parks, Properties and Streets,
do we have minutes in here for that?
no, they're not done yet.
Okay, well then we'll just move on.
Okay, Personnel,
Has not met. No, we did meet.
Personnel did meet.
but those minutes aren't done yet either. Okay,
Right.
Land Commission,
Minutes are in the packet. Are there any questions on what we were discussing?
Oh, I did have one, I think. This is where somebody came and wanted to split a piece of property, but because it was 10,000 square feet, that's not big enough. Am I thinking of that right? Was that in this packet?
In plan, under Plan Commission?
Yes.
that is, that's,
It's the Little Sister Resort property. I think there was conversation in the Cranes public hearing that their lot sizes were smaller than the 20,000 square feet. There were some people that spoke during that public hearing, thinking that on the inland parcel where the resort and the dining room was, that the amount of homes there was too dense and they wanted to see it reduced. And so Plan Commission did not make any recommendations or conditions on their conditional use permit. There was quite a bit of testimony and a little bit of a revised plan at that public hearing. So everybody on Plan Commission was supposed to get back to me yesterday which I don't, Nate, I haven't heard from you, but I heard from everybody else, on what conditions they would like to see placed on that permit. And the density and the square footage of those lots will be discussed.
Denise, I
Okay.
think Pat was probably referring to the Cox property. They
Yeah,
were-
Cox, I think.
Oh, oh. Yeah. Sorry.
That was a lot of words for the wrong property.
Yep.
Oh, well, now you know.
Yeah.
Page 116.
Well, there's so much going on in Sister Bay, it's easy to get confused.
Yeah, so what did we, the staff members' findings will be presented at the next Plan Commission meeting.
That was part of the Horbinski property, and there was, Mary Kay had questioned whether there were restrictive covenants on the property. And then she also wanted to know, she had asked that Bo do some research regarding the implications of Act 67 on substandard lots.
So we don't, that's still left up in the air, Pat. We have to have further discussion and find out what the research is from staff.
Okay.
Did
So, yeah.
you?
Yeah, it
did
says
you have a-
Burn Bluff that recently denied a zoning permit because it's 15,000 square feet. So the idea of 20,000 square feet, is that in that particular zoning area?
Yep.
Yes.
Correct. That's the minimum size for a lot in that district.
Okay. Okay, I was just, I was in our packets, the idea of the 13 lots we have, most of those are significantly less sized than this. And I was just wondering, so that's a different zone, different district? Must be.
Those are zoned R2 as it stands.
Okay. And so.
There may
small-
be some tweaking of those lots, Pat. And that is something that the Plan Commission and the board will be talking about. Bo and myself met with Mariah Good of the county and Pastor Honig, who I believe is the chair of the Housing Trust. And so we started that conversation about what to do with those 13 lots, because I think we all feel that the village needs to make a plan. We need to move in the right direction. And it was brought up at that time that we did have some substandard lots, but there were also some lots that were quite a bit larger. So Bo sent me a map, which I haven't reviewed yet, on the square footage of each of those lots, where the laterals were put in. Could we change the lot sizes if we wanted to, depending upon what type of development was going to be put on there? So this will be a continuing conversation as we move forward with what to do with all the lots.
Okay. So when you talk about substandard lots, are they not proper for how it's currently zoned?
Yes,
hoping we
and I
didn't
don't
have
know, I do
engineers
not.
To
not
engineer
know-
something and put utilities in and it wasn't correct. Those wonderful engineering fees that we love to ring up.
I do not know how those CSMs were done or why, and that's one of the other things that staff is supposed to be checking into. I am boggled by that. That I was not on the board at that time. I have no reference point. So there had to be some investigation into that.
Is that a Garrett thing?
Yes. Any other questions on Plan Commission?
Okay, next we have SBA. The SBA Board of Directors met on February 11th, but the minutes for that meeting aren't completed yet. Then we've got Tourism Zone Commission.
Oh, were you at that last meeting?
Pulling it up, hold on.
And was Rob there? Had we appointed him for a meeting, or did he miss the last one?
Bob was not there, hold on.
These minutes that are here are from December, so Rob would not.
No, okay.
I'm sorry, they meet on the 18th, they meet on Thursday.
Okay. And have you confirmed with Rob that he received the packet?
I have not, but I will do so.
Please do.
I
Yep.
talked to Rob and he said that he would get a hold of Kim and make all the necessary arrangements.
Okay,
I'll-
let's just follow up on that, please.
Okay. All right, then we've got utilities.
We did meet, a couple of short meetings after having no meetings for a couple months, directors' reports and update on the operations and the new construction.
Okay, and youth center. I don't think they met. All right, that's it.
Are we done?
You've got
I'm still scrolling.
you're done with minutes. Now you've got to go to a closed session.
Okay. Almost there. Oh, no, it stops on page 206. Okay. So I have to go back to page 1.
You want me to just read it? Would that help?
I got it. Thank you. I make a motion to convene into executive session pursuant to Wisconsin Stats 19.85 sub 1 sub E to deliberate or negotiate the purchase of public properties, the investment of public funds, or conduct other specified public business whenever competitive or bargaining reasons require a closed session, and Wisconsin Stats 19.85 sub 1 sub G to confer with legal counsel for the governmental body who is rendering oral or written advice concerning strategy to be adopted by the body with respect to litigation in which it is or is likely to become involved. Motion by Berto,
Second.
second by Bell. Roll call.
Okay, Baker,
Yes.
Bertle,
Yes.
Bell,
Yes.
Duffy,
Yes.
Peduncle,
Yes.
and Nino.
Yes.
Okay, 1 second, please. Okay,
Okay, I will make a motion to reconvene into open session at 8:13. Motion by Berto.
Second by Nino.
Roll call, please, Janelle.
Baker,
Yes.
Bertle,
Yes.
Bell,
Yes.
Duffy,
Yes.
Peduncle,
Yes.
and Nino.
Yes.
Okay, we are taking no action from our closed session. Discussion regarding matters to be placed on future agendas. So we will, let's see.
All I show is a closed session.
Yes, that's all that I show.
We'll have something from Common Tech. I'm just not sure what the language will be. I'll work with Nate. We can figure that out.
Okay. All right, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Motion by Duffy, second by Nino. All those in favor respond with an aye.
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 Opposed? Carried. Excuse me. Chad, you were going to call me?
Yeah, just about our meeting tomorrow. You
Okay.
available right away?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
sounds good. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Have a good one, everyone.